And again, that shot of the belt, man. Can we get one of those? Can we get like a caster one? We'll talk about it offline. We'll try and make that work. But the players
made out of plastic and cardboard.
Yeah, why not? I'll take one.
We'll make our own.
Yeah,
easy.
As long as Zoot doesn't get one, that's fine. But yeah, this is going to be a good one. So you never actually said the prediction though in terms of maps.
I feel like
I almost let you off the hook, and I was like, wait a minute, you didn't actually give me numbers.
So I've actually been personally really happy to see dram1s' progress, because I know dram1s did extremely underwhelming at QuakeCon. But then over the course of the Americas, similar to like a brick, and you can see that the gradual growth. But I just think nosfa is just that next level above. I reckon it might be a 2-0 to nosfa here.
2-0. Bold prediction. I'm not going to give one because my opinion doesn't matter. And dram1s is going to start off on the Strog, going straight to shotgun into Armor Shard. As we kick this one off, round of 16 action, best of 3, dram1s versus nosfa. Quake Pro League Stage 1 Finals.
But we just look at the matchups that's been selected here too. Nyx versus Strog and Pika. Fundamentally, nosfa, he, on top of being able to play these high-octane champions himself, he's very, very familiar with how someone will try and move around a map. His kind of his reads based on your movement are normally sublime. Like right there, dram1s trying to go for the treat. nosfa having that angle ready to go almost immediately. But now, he can spring those traps and he can just play his sort of solid as a rock game, play around dram1s' movement with those rail shots. However, when the chips are down for a fight, I think that Ghost Walk is going to make like a world of difference.
Absolutely. It could be a panic button. You can use it aggressively. There's one good rail right there. dram1s needs to be careful not to open himself up to another one. Playing very carefully on that elbow. Still has the peeker intact just in case he wants to pop.
I love the fact that dram1s has slowed it down, though, and he's just giving no information to nosfa. He's walking. He's trying to make no noise. He spent this entire minute just getting bullied around the map by nosfa because he's trying to run away, and nosfa just like tagging him over and over and over again. So now, slowing it down, starved nosfa of that information. At least we have the Mega. But what a shot. Ready for the jump pad. And he hits another one. Thankfully, there is a light armor to pick up the pieces. dram1s still forced to retreat just a little bit. And it looks very uncomfortable. Important rail to land. He's now instantly back in this fight. But watch out! Gets the heavy. Unchallenged, nosfa misses the shot. And just like that, it's actually dram1s that has the stack advantage here.
nosfa went all in on that. He thought he can get the frag. Didn't work out. And now he's a little bit behind. That pickup's going to help him even the stacks just a bit. Again, dram1s not really using that peeker, waiting for the perfect time. I'm looking forward to seeing how he utilizes that. I mean, again, we saw Dahang play earlier, utilizing it probably the best in NA with the peeker play, I'd say. That was a great rail. Can he find another one? Barely missing out, and he's out of rails. I think he almost mistimed it. He was like, wait a minute. Don't you love it when you second-guess yourself on items?
This is something that I mentioned at the very start of the day, is how the rest of the Americas that aren't Dahang have, I think, adapted to their use of peeker for Strong. Because I always felt like Dahang was the only player really in the world that's truly mastered the peeker usage in a duel environment. I know he started on 2v2 and that's really where he innovated the character. But fundamentally, there are a few other players that I think have had a bit of a hard time learning how to use it. You know, dram1s hasn't used it once. I'm assuming it's because he hasn't found himself in the position to use it, sure, but there is this element of, you know, time and place. dram1s hasn't found the right time in 3 minutes. Basically playing this champion just for the slide, popping the peeker just in case. Good thing he got rid of it when he did, though, because nosfa going in for the kill. Very even on stack. Who's going to get the first frag? nosfa ticks that box, but not before taking a bunch of damage himself. Thankfully, there was a Mega to pick it up. And just like that, 40, it's going to be a 1-0 for nosfa. And he needs to get that all-important rail ammo, because he's going to need it.
A really good frag there, really good rail. Almost found another one there. dram1s, maybe a little bit of a movement error trying to get that slide going. nosfa looking pretty strong here, looking to push the advantage a little bit. Stack's about even. He does have Ghost Walk, so he could play super aggressive if he wanted. He's going to see him from down below. There's the LG. Misses with the rail follow-up. Still holding on to that Ghost Walk. I think it looks like he might be using it more on the defensive, or waiting for that perfect moment, which could be after that rail. What a flick. And then the jump over dram1s, a little bit crazy there. 25 HP, needs to be careful.
And there's no sign of a Mega just yet. dram1s has to resort to the small pickups just to try and stay alive. Nowhere near heavy to challenge. And with the stack that nosfa has, it's risky. Extremely dangerous, in fact, for dram1s to try and fight. And he's going to try and disengage, create some space. Fighting for that Mega would have been a suicide mission, but it looks like nosfa, he's kind of wise to it. He hasn't taken the Mega. There's still going to be a really nice divide. Looking to get some opening damage, and now he should be nice and healthy. dram1s is a sitting duck down here. He's going to finish the job, and it's a 2-0.
nosfa's so good at doing damage and kind of just doing a Statue of Liberty play where he's like, I know where you have to go, I'm just going to wait, and once I hear it, I'll drop. None of this double back stuff that's going to confuse me. That's the second time he's done that, second frag. And almost 5 minutes in, looking really strong. dram1s going straight at him. Will eat a rail, might eat some LG. Here comes the shaft from nosfa. Here comes the peeker, and we'll count that as a double kill as peeker and Strog go down together as a team.
I'm pretty convinced the rail went through peeker and just hit Strog on the other side. That was swag to legendary levels. What a crazy frag that was. 4-0 now, dram1s. It is starting to escape him a little bit. The problem he's having is that nosfa, he's so content to just sit there, know where he needs to be, and there's no rush. Like, that is fundamentally how nosfa is playing. There's no rush to do any of this. If he's near a Mega, he doesn't need to pick up the Mega immediately. Let's just step outside, do a bunch of damage to dram1s, and then when the opening damage is done, then collect Mega and jump down with a stack that he cannot survive against.
Completely agree. Take the initial fight. If you take some damage, no worries, you can fall back to the item. Needs to be careful. And there's the rockets. Is the LG going to be enough? No, and the Mega is right there just in time.
Perfect timing on nosfa's part, and he was in perfect position. And he knew the odds. You know, take the damage, yeah, sure, but if we can survive long enough for Mega to spawn, we can secure the frag anyway. 5-0 now. dram1s really in big trouble, and it's kind of coming back to, and this isn't the only reason at all, but Pika basically doesn't exist in this matchup so far. It is just a champion that can crouch slide. dram1s hasn't got a single frag yet, so the vials don't really matter. It is pure just initial utility of a crouch sliding champion because Slash was banned out. And I feel like the Slash ban has made such a huge difference in how this map is going.
Such a good rail into rockets. Switches to rail, very patient. And as you said, yeah, since there hasn't been a lot of peeker play, he hasn't been able to deny those shards. So nosfa, whenever he pops Ghost Walk, all the shards are available to him, so he could just pop Ghost Walk again, get that instant cooldown.
And then we also look at the fact that if you're not really able to use peeker, you're essentially playing on a map where one player has an ability and you don't. And if that ability is instant invisibility and invulnerability, we've clearly seen the setups and the traps that come from that. I just think that this one, if you're putting champions versus each other, dram1s is at a major disadvantage here. And that's going to be an absolute kill, surely. There's no way dram1s is escaping this one. That defensive rocket, it's okay, but it's not enough. Even now, nosfa can barely tank a rail, especially now Heavy is in his hands. He's going to be on the warpath here. He smells blood, and he's looking to finish the job. He's so close, and there's the rail. Looking for one more, misses a shot, but it's absolutely possible to pick up another. And dram1s is just stuck between a rock and a hard place. See you later, Pika. Don't even try and appear there. What are you doing?
But trying to get that rail. It's a good defensive rail, and here comes the Ghost Walk. He just wants to end it, pushing aggressively. dram1s knows something's up. He's going to try and escape, but the rail does land one and gets away. But all this running away doesn't mean anything. nosfa's up 6.
And what it is doing as well is it's continuing, yeah, it's keeping dram1s alive, but he's nowhere near anything significant. He's being forced away from Mega. He's being forced away from Heavy. Here comes another fight, looking like it's going to go in the favor of nosfa. Yes, it will. This has just been incredibly one-sided, 40. I just think that the pick of Nyx was such a smart selection going into this first map, because it's so, I guess after experience, nosfa, he's kind of used to how crouch sliders will approach this map. And I feel like Nyx is kind of like a brick wall that just sits there and goes, right, I'm going to do all this damage, and then when this close range fight comes over where you would normally overwhelm me, I can then reposition and then take you by surprise. Wonderful shot, gets traded out, but it doesn't really matter thanks to nosfa's impressive stack. And he's looking to get the Mega. At no point has dram1s been even remotely in control here. Wow. Wonderful rail. Looking for another one. Just needs one more. Give us the glory stuff.
Almost hit the hat trick there. Backed off. Tried to catch him out lower, and he does so. The Brazilian looking so strong right now. 8-0. Is this going to be a shutout?
Maybe.
You know he's going to let him know.
Oh, God. That's a head-on collision. And only dram1s is coming off bad in the other end of that one. A minute and a half, and I mean, this map's already over. There's no sugarcoating it. nosfa's going to take this 1-0 so far. And if you're dram1s, you just need to approach, how is this going on? nosfa just has such a... And it's also a game of control, right? At no point has dram1s actually been able to challenge for any of these pickups because he's never got the stack. nosfa is hitting almost every single rail, and the ones he misses are almost impossible shots in the first place.
Just complete dominance right now.
Oh, God.
1 minute away from the shutout, and you know that nosfa's going to pop off. He might wait until the second map, but I feel like he's going to let him know a little something. Out comes the peeker, and the Ghost Walk, a little bit of insurance. right onto the Mega, perfectly timed. Does eat another rail on the jump over, but with 45 seconds left. I mean, now he's just playing not to give up the frag at all. Now he's just being a bully.
Absolutely. Take away anything that resembles momentum. However, gets caught on the stairs, but dram1s gets a little bit of damage, but once more, it's not enough. nosfa has spent 100% of this map being the one in complete control. So when a fight happens, he just doesn't have any stack. And nosfa's able to hit everything. So fundamentally, this has just been the Brazil show, I think. 40 is an accurate way of just describing this first map. dram1s just trying to avoid getting 10-0'd, but looks like an impossible task and a great way for nosfa to start this off. A little bit of a neck stretch to refresh as we're now going to go into map number 2.
Oh, 7 HP and just couldn't close out, and that's in just absolutely dominant performance. There's nothing else to say about that as he takes a slight swig of water. He's like, on to the next one.
But what really just happened there was a game of patience. nosfa being, he can be really sporadic when he wants to be, but there's really just no need for it when you have a strategy against someone who you know is going to actively kind of try and move around the map constantly really fast. One of the, I suppose, drawbacks of Strog, yes, he's a crouch sliding champion, but he doesn't have like the initial burst of speed that Slash can have.
Bam.
Oh, so good. One of the coolest looking
You
rails.
and your crew.
2v1, what? Who cares? But I mean, that was just a game of nosfa knowing really kind of what dram1s' escape options would be. It kind of looks like two players that I imagine have scrimmed a fair amount in the past.
I think they have gotten a lot of reps together. Again, in QPL official games, only one set that went 2-1 to nosfa. He's playing so strong right now, it might just go 2-0 this time around, unfortunately for dram1s. But yeah, hopefully for him, he can mentally reset. Maybe this was just a bad first map, but nosfa's just so strong right now. Representing Brazil, he takes pride in that. He loves the added pressure. And he's rising to the occasion right now against dram1s.
But these land performances, look at the pickups. In the course of one 10-minute map, 16 mega, 11 heavy. And every time it kind of, even if it did go in the favor of dram1s, it was just nothing that nosfa was worried about. But I mean, it was a game of, he established control at the very beginning, and then throughout the course of the entire map, dram1s was just never in a position to even begin to challenge it.
Constantly on the back foot. I think there was 1 or 2 fights that were just out of reach. 1 10 HP maybe on nosfa, but after that it was smooth sailing. It was just utter dominant.
It was a game of rail as far as I was concerned. Those rails from range just consistently shut down dram1s.
Oh, he's getting serious. Oh, he's getting serious.
Is this
like, that was just a warm-up game. Now I'm going beast mode.
If you can secure a 2-0 though after not playing, because we're quite late on in the day here for the Stage 1 finals.
It's been a day. It's been a day of Quake. I'm sure a lot of these players starting to hit that fatigue.
Oh, for sure.
Again, that's tournament environment, baby. You got to be ready.
But it's worth mentioning to the viewers at home, that these aren't their first games of the day. There is a rather extensive practice room that everyone's able to sit down and get warmed up before their matches. So these will not be their first matches. They will be their first tournament matches of the day, though, which we all know is different to...
Completely different.
When you're sitting at home and grinding.
There's so many people out there right now.
I really want to give a shout out to this wonderful crowd. The Lucca Comics and Games Festival is such an eye-opener. An entire town that just becomes a convention space. If anyone is ever on the fence about coming to Lucca Comics and Games, I cannot recommend it enough. But it's going to be Molten Fools, dram1s, going on with a slightly slower paced champion in that visor. But I think the added information, I think that's actually quite important, because so far nosfa has kind of pretty much been the constant brain of the operation. And if dram1s is able to play a champion where he just gets that extra trump card, that extra bit of vision, I feel like with just how much of a lid nosfa's had on how dram1s is approaching it, he needs that extra info, like, desperately.
I like that play a lot. Just, being really patient, trying to make sure the rockets aren't free, and dram1s punishes it. LG, dram1s had the same idea. He's like, you guard the rockets, I'll guard the LG, and we'll see who breaks first. And dram1s is the one to break through 1-0.
Popping that piercing sight to spring the attack. Before I can even finish talking about how the piercing sight's probably going to be quite useful for this matchup. And here's the first tool that secures the first frag. And we're already 1 minute in. dram1s has a little bit of that momentum. Not too much of a delay, though, in between the major pickups. So we'll see how that one's going to unfold. Like I said, dram1s heavily preferring heavy in this situation. Looking for a rail, of which he's able to land one. Probably can't quite hit the angle for the last one, but he's trying to push out. Really try and get some bonus damage. Force nosfa away. Collect the heavy later. And now we're nicely stacked to go and fight towards what might be a mega fight, or at least nearby.
I like prioritizing those shards. Definitely want vision back. nosfa trying to fight him off with rockets. Good LG coming out. There's the Dire Orb for misdirection. dram1s doesn't bite. Pops the vision. Can he find the angle? And no. nosfa stays out of sight, but that was an incredible amount of damage from dram1s. That's going to open him up to grab the Mega, the Heavy, unfortunately.
nosfa's pretty starved of pickups. Fortunately, the lights have respawned near rail, so he's able to more than stop the bleeding. I think it's really unfortunate for dram1s that he couldn't finish that. That's the kind of momentum that you really want to score a 2-0 as early as possible. He was able to survive, and a bit of a rare, complete misfire on the orb from nosfa. You're normally expecting him to really hit his mark on those kind of shots, but not going to be dram1s' problem, that's for sure.
I feel like that was a panic orb where it was like, look over there, please, just look away, and dram1s wasn't having it. He's like, that doesn't go anywhere. I know that. There's the vision popped again, looking for a rail, a little bit of tribal coming out from nosfa. Trying to move in on this Heavy. He wants it real bad, but dram1s is going to take it again. He's also going to take that rail. Needs to be careful here.
Important rails to undo the damage, and he's going to get some LG. It's going to give dram1s a little bit of a speed boost, though. Thank you very much, mate. Unfortunately, dram1s forced to retreat a little bit. It's going to force him away, and he's going to have to concede that Mega. dram1s has kind of spent almost 100% of this map on the Heavy side. I'd be interested to see how he eventually tries to push out. But he can really sit on the lead that he's established. Yes, it's only one frag, but it is control. Unfortunately now, tagged by the rail, nosfa's just going to do the maths, go in for the kill for the orb, but he's not able to finish it. nosfa forced to retreat. A pear-shaped fight, but thankfully, he's able to escape with his life. Both players are going to disengage, and dram1s, for the first time, sitting around Mega. And now there should be plenty of pickups around. Fortunately, that light armor is going to spawn. Piercing Sight's going to give him that information. Forces away. He's at least going to get timing on that Mega, so it's better than nothing.
Good rail from dram1s there. The return fire from nosfa won't land. Still a 1 frag lead for dram1s. This could be bad, pinning himself into a corner. nosfa's going to move in. Going to hit a great rail. dram1s railable now, but there comes the Dire Orb to get out.
Dire Orb's so smart. It's so common that you give up a free rail by dropping down near teleporter. Dire Orb just says, you know what? No free damage for you.
One train ticket out of here, please.
First class. Here comes that Piercing Sight used again. Lands a wonderful rocket, and the rail to boot. nosfa forced on the back foot, but dram1s, he's very mindful of those defensive shots. He knows he has the stack to win the fight. However, if he walks into one rail and he's quite out of position, it can easily go the wrong way. And what's the rush, right? Let's keep the 1 frag lead. Go get Heavy. Back to the drawing board. Back where we started.
As a stranglehold on that Heavy here, as that rail will come in and miss just above the shoulder, it looks like. dram1s more than happy to take this and keep playing his game. nosfa has to try and find a way through this defense of dram1s here.
Bit of an awkward rail angle to hit from this height, but it is going to hit its mark. nosfa once again tagged. As long as dram1s keeps hitting these rails, it's going to make life for nosfa very, very difficult indeed. Should be some audio, though, coming through. Goes in for the orb once more. Orb failing to hit its mark, and he punishes it with the rail. nosfa's been having a really hard time with those orbs, 40. Not a single one has hit its mark yet.
Yeah, it's absolutely unfortunate, but dram1s is not afraid to play his game, making nosfa come to him, and it's working beautifully. 2-0. It's not huge in terms of frag differential. It's not super fancy, but it's working, and a W is a W, and that's what dram1s needs right now. 5 minutes in, 2 frag lead. I love it.
Easier said than done, but simply all he has to do is keep doing what he's doing for another 5 minutes, and this is going to be a 1-1. But it's this natural change of pace. The fact that nosfa hasn't really been able to seize these fights, he's taken so much damage that by the time he uses the orb, it almost feels a little bit like a desperation orb rather than one that's calculated to go in, you know, combo him with something else. And this visor pick, it's making such a difference. It's allowing these rails, and every time a rail connects, nosfa has to disengage. He has to wait for another rotation because he can't realistically confidently take a fight unless he knows he has a really large stack to compete. And missing another rail. I almost feel like a complete flip of what happened in map number 1 is now happening to nosfa on the receiving end. That rail misses well. That would have been a free frag. Goes in for the orb. Doesn't choose to teleport to it. dram1s trying to restock. Runs out of rockets, though. This should be the opening. nosfa absolutely scores that one. 1-2. Unfortunate that dram1s would run out of rockets right when he didn't want to, but nosfa capitalizing nicely. And now this comeback just became totally viable. Caught by a wonderful rail, though.
Yeah, it's such a difficult position to get caught out with rockets because you have to fire up the stairs. It's just a really, really hard shot to hit regardless. And now nosfa looking to tie it here. Needs to be careful. That's a great donk there. Full on 100. But he's going to have to disengage and grab these 225s. Heavy's going to be up. That's going to be conceded, but he is going to grab the Mega. Might take a rail here depending on if dram1s drops down, but it looks like he's just going to go through elbow, maybe collect some shards to try and get that vision back up.
And dram1s is safe to assume that nosfa has taken the Mega by now. Piercing sight to give him the information. However, nosfa is nice and stacked, actually. One of the first times he could potentially take a fight, and if he plays his cards right, might be able to come off on top. However, he's still the one that has to press the advantage. dram1s is so comfortable just sitting on a 1-frag lead. If he can catch those rails, teleports in with the orb to engage, hits a rail. Okay, that's really good because it's forced dram1s away from the Heavy. And now with the Mega about to spawn, dram1s way too timid to go for that Mega. It's all about the aim of the game, keeping the lead. It's a tiny lead, but if he can win off this 1 frag, he's got this far, but no, the turnaround! nosfa catches him out of position, and because dram1s just didn't fight for any of the pickups, there was no way he was winning that fight.
So much stack LG on LG. nosfa's going to win that 100% of the time. Now, might be able to push this advantage after this Heavy pickup. Mega shortly after. nosfa just running the items now. dram1s playing a little bit too timid for his own good. Needs to be really careful here. nosfa going to grab the Mega from underneath. dram1s is going to drop down on it, but he's going to need a lot of LG. The orb not even necessary. Uses the rail instead. Had the orb. I thought he was going to go for the shove at 3-2 as we're rounding the 8-minute mark. And this is where it's dangerous for dram1s here. He kind of took his foot off the gas way too early, and now nosfa punishing.
There's this game of, playing defense still means you have to fight people away from those major pickups. Because the moment you let someone take it and they can run rampant, I mean, we just saw what happened. The moment dram1s got caught round that corner near rail, that was all she wrote. And even if he hit loads of his shots, he pretty much wasn't going to survive that fight. He was caught off guard and the damage was too real for him to survive. But I really think he went for that hyper-defensive play a bit too early for you.
It's really dangerous to play not to lose, and now he's got to force himself into a situation like this, which nosfa is more than happy to take. There's the Dire Orb up. Heavy is grabbed. He won't take the orb. Instead, he'll rocket jump out.
Wow.
Rails exchanged. A little bit of a crazy play from nosfa, perhaps giving dram1s an in there. Needs to be careful. 2 seconds to the Mega. A little bit of Tri-Bolt spam coming out. dram1s trying to fire some rockets and get some damage, and he's going to have to chase. There's a good rail. Rails exchanged as nosfa hits his. He's going to grab a 25. That's going to put him out of rail range for now. dram1s still hurt. Also trying to restack as best he can, but time keeps on ticking.
A much better room for nosfa to retreat to, though, thanks to the inclusion of the light armor. dram1s only has the health orbs. If he gets hit by 1 rail and then some, he's in a bad spot. The Mega's about to spawn soon, but again, dram1s, he's been quite consistently starved of regular pickups. The light is just about to spawn, but only just. And even then, it's not a stack to really worry about compared to the amount of armor that nosfa is currently sitting on. It is just short of the 1-minute warning has now gone through. nosfa only has a few more seconds to play with, and he can play that runaway game. This very well might be the last piercing sight that we realistically see dram1s get the chance to use. He's going to get some Tri-Bolt, but not before taking much damage himself. Has to watch out. There is no armor available, and dram1s has to pick this fight very carefully. nosfa could very easily turn this round. 95 rocket. Damage! Count it up! And now he's railable.
And there it is. And I think nosfa just stole the show right here. 4-2, 15 seconds left, and time keeps on slipping into the future as nosfa with a bit of a space jam right there. And just one last kill with a shotgun. Why not? That's going to be 2-0 to nosfa over dram1s. And that is quite a performance there from the Brazilian player.
I mean, he played from behind for a lot of the map. The moment he smelt blood in the water, he went straight in there and didn't waste the opportunity. Well played. Sad to see dram1s go, as always, but I mean, there's really no taking away from just how well nosfa approached the final stages of that map.
I really feel like dram1s maybe, put his foot off the gas a little bit too early, and that's kind of what spiraled out of control, as you mentioned before, kind of giving up the Mega and Heavy a little bit too easy, not even going for chip.
It was that moment that, it was about 7 minutes in, perhaps, maybe even 6, I can't remember the exact counter, but it was definitely early enough that it was a bit too eager. There was a specific moment where he gave up the Heavy and the Mega pretty much at the same time, and didn't even look for a rail angle on either of them, which allowed nosfa to just have this mammoth stack. dram1s gets caught near rail and just gets deleted. And it's just that train of momentum. That one play gave nosfa full control, and a common occurrence that dram1s had in the entire course of this series was struggling to get control back from nosfa. It's the fact that he got control so early on, I just feel like he just simply gave it up. He just gave it to him on a silver plate and went, there you go, mate, have the win.